Now, on another matter, I want to share the Senate's warmest wishes for a speedy recovery with Larry Kudlow, the director of the National Economic Council and assistant to the president, who is currently recovering at Walter Reed from what we're told was a small heart attack. Larry is not just a famously happy warrior for pro-growth, pro-opportunity economics. He's also widely regarded, really, as one of the best guys in Washington. We hope he gets well soon. Now, speaking of the economy, Madam President, by now it's no secret that under the last administration, our nation's economic recovery was slow, stunted, and almost exclusively focused on the largest urban centers. Between 2010 and 2016, that's where more than 90% of population growth happened. It's where nearly 3/4 of new jobs went. Most everywhere else in our smaller cities, small towns, rural areas, families heard a lot of talk about what my Democrats called an economic recovery, what our Democratic colleagues called it an economic recovery, but they say few or none of these effects in these small towns and small communities. So it's no surprise that after seeing their communities suffer under 8 years of Democrats' policies, millions of Americans are ready to take a different route. That's why they elected a Republican president and Republican majorities here in Congress, and we set about implementing our agenda to take money and power out of Washington and put it back in the hands of middle-class families and small businesses all across our country. But even as the positive effects of these policies have become more and more obvious, they continue to encounter near-complete party-line opposition at every turn. I recall that just 2 or 3 days after President Trump signed our historic tax reform into law, several of my colleagues across the aisle were offering some dramatic predictions. On Christmas Eve last year, the senior senator from Montana took to the Bozeman Daily Chronicle with a piece titled, "Tax Bill, a Disastrous Plan Fails Montana and Our Future." Quite a pronouncement. It reminded me of the Democratic leader in the House. She said our plan to give tax cuts to middle-class families and businesses would bring about, quote, Armageddon. Armageddon. So how are these prognostications holding up, Madam President? Well, the new tax code is causing Northwestern Energy to pass along millions of dollars in savings to Montana utility customers. My friend Senator Daines recently shared what tax reform already means to Montana small business owners. In Chester, at Strix Ag, it means bonuses of nearly $1,000 for each employee. In Missoula, at Big Sky Brewing, it means worker bonuses and money to purchase new equipment. The same goes for Cabinet Mountain Brewing in Libby. And over in Thompson Falls, tax reform gave Thompson River Lumber the breathing room to buy their first new forklift in 19 years. These are the workers and job creators that Senator Daines bet on when he voted for tax reform and helped make all of this possible. He voted for Montanans to send less to the IRS and keep more of their own hard-earned money to save or invest as they see fit. It's too bad their senior senator took the opposite approach and tried to block these tax cuts from happening, let alone that Democratic leaders in both chambers now say they'll repeal tax reform if they get the chance. But Republicans will keep picking up the slack. We'll keep standing up for the American people.